Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Introduction to Social Work class. We will have both in person and online. So I will be filming YouTube lives, most likely later on in the week. And you can come in person, third floor of Wesley Hall, if you wear a mask. So today, nobody's on campus. We're doing everything still virtual and online. So if you would like to come next week, most likely Thursdays and Fridays will be the days that I'll film. So just ask me and I'll let you know. So if you have access to this video, you have access to Schoology. So this is what your Schoology looks like. I just wanted to go through the syllabus. I actually pasted a folder of what last semester looked like, so it'll look very identical to this. And all of the assignments and everything from the syllabus, so you can get kind of a heads up. I've already got the first paper up for you guys, which really is just a 2-page paper, and we'll start going through these PowerPoints. It's about one a week because we have like 14 chapters, and cover everything for you guys. So if you want to download your own syllabus, you will want to click on this link here. So the top page, Social Work 1100. You can download it and save it to your hard drive. So if you lose internet signal, you don't have to download it again. You own it as a Word document. So there is that. I think to go through it, we'll have to enable editing. I should introduce myself. My name is Dr. Jonathan Trouth. I've been a social worker for 20 years and practiced this whole time. I did my undergraduate in psychology and theology, my master's in social work, and a doctorate in counseling at the University of Cincinnati. My MSW was from the University of Kentucky, and did my theology at Xavier University, and it was an MA in theology and pastoral counseling. So I've worked at 3 years in Claremont Recovery Center, about 6 years at Lighthouse Youth Services, and most recently done work at a private practice. I've started teaching about 9 years ago and went full-time teaching in 2016. So this is my 5th full-time year of teaching, and I started 4 semesters ago at Central State University. So some of us saw the pandemic kind of lock us down and make it different with this online class, but we've gotten through. We've been able to do most things electronic and serve you guys and find out ways to help out. So the syllabus here, I'm going to go ahead and close the slide to make it a little bigger. You'll probably want to look on your own screen because it's probably inverted whenever we do videos. The screen inverts itself, so it's backwards. But you can get a hold of me. I'm here most every day at the end of the day. A lot of 2 and 3 o'clock classes, and then today I have a 5 o'clock class. With this online Intro to Social Work class, I will be filming from the room, so you can come in person. Just be sure to wear a mask. So we've all gotten the masks. One of these would work. I have some N95 masks. And so with Intro to Social Work, it is required for all social work majors. We are accredited by the university, or CSWE, the Council on Social Work Education, has accredited Central State, which allows bachelor's, BSW graduates to go right into an MSW program and finish your master's in social work in 1 calendar year. So you usually start in the summer after you graduate, and it just finishes right. It's really like 10 and a half to 11 and a half months, and you would have a clinical MSW, can go for your independent license a couple years later and start your own private practice. So that's the great thing about accreditation. The challenging thing with accreditation is we have more papers that CSWE mandates on us and make sure that we do. So the main objective of this course is to introduce the social work profession in a variety of fields to the social work practice of the student. So I know there's a lot of different majors in here. Now this includes the study of the historical development and professionalization of social work. That was about 100 years ago. Also gives an overview of social work in the U.S. society, and then social work career opportunities. So we'll have you look up what you may be interested in doing for a job when you graduate in a few years, possibly. So some of the learning objectives, and you get these in the first few papers, and it's describe the social work profession and its field of practice, define the values of social work specified in the NASW. That's one of the second or third papers. Also, apply the values of social work to societal problems. That's like kind of where we do in the third paper, covering some of these problems, explain the history of social work profession, identify the causes of social problems, identify major social welfare responses and social problems, differentiate between traditional conservative and liberal approaches to the social problems, and then describe the impact of major social welfare policies and programs on disadvantaged populations. And then finally, define the role of social work in striving to establish and maintain social and economic justice, and then identify one's goodness of fit if you would like to practice social work and go for your license later on. That is kind of one of the things we'll get into, and I'll even go over some of the licensure exam questions, because that's what you will need to pass and get your license when you graduate. So I like to kind of get into that and go over those things with you. The book is Juan Miley, and I will be putting up all of the PowerPoints, and also try to scan at least the first chapter so you have time to get it. You can buy it used. If you get the old edition, that's fine. Just making sure that you have the basis of this book. So attendance and participation, again, because it is a hybrid course and online, you can do everything from watching the YouTube live videos. You can ask questions, I think in the stream here, if I say hi to you guys. You can reply now or even like days down the future for attendance when you watch it. Also, really the discussion boards every 7 to 10 days. That will be another way to get attendance, posting on a topic and then replying to classmates for the full credit. There are papers. I do accept some things late. You will be reduced, at least one letter grade, so 10% of the earned grade if it's late. I do everything, it says here, written work, so an APA style. And what that means is you can go to apastyle.org to make sure you're doing it right. But essentially, it's going to have a cover page, then you write your 2 or 3 page paper at the beginning with citations, and then at the end it's called references, not works cited. So I know a lot of us were trained in high school to use works cited, but for the rest of your college career, maybe because the American Psychological Association donated the most money to advocate for itself, everybody uses APA. Every school I've been to, every graduate school, everywhere I've ever gone. And it's a good thing to learn. Some of the easiest is if you want to cite something, you go to scholar.google.com and you find that book or article, and then it'll have like quotes on how to cite it towards the bottom. So I think even on the first paper, I've given you guys that as a possibility. So if you go in Intro to Social Work and the first paper, it asks to start with articles, and you either go to www.scholar.google.com. You may have to type it into your own browser, because for whatever reason, I don't know why it doesn't let you click into scholar.google.com, but let's see which one this is. We are in 2W. I have two sections of this class, so you're both doing the same work. If you have friends in the other section, study with them. So the link I have here, this is some of the articles you can use for your first paper about, how social workers help, what social workers do. And if you want to quote something, here's for the work references at the end. It does APA right here. So you would just copy that. It's very easy. If you write in the middle of the paper, it's Shackman et al. 2020. So that's the gist of how we do the APA style. If you have questions, feel free to email, come by during office hours. I'll show you how to do it, how to do the research. We even have EBSCO hosts through the library now to get awesome articles. So, everything is electronic nowadays. So we are going to have these YouTube lives, and you turn things in through Schoology and even get your grade back through Schoology. There are several papers, again, because we are an accredited college, we go through all of these. And the first one is it's either the last day of this month or the first day of next month. So you have some time to get into it, but it's social work as a career paper. And I just clicked on some of the articles you could use for it, but the idea is for this one, and I'll go through this one in detail now because it's the first paper due. Please research articles by Google. You don't have to use just Google. You could go to search it on DuckDuckGo or EBSCO host at the library, which I think is better. And the articles that respond to gaining knowledge about social work. So in the one I had put, how social workers help, what social workers do. So search these titles. I know it says Google these, but it's okay if you use another search engine. It's better if you use another search engine. One could be want a social work career, ? Or you could search what you need to know, what is social work, and what being a social worker means. So after reading these, all I want you to do is write a 2-page essay on how social work practice aligns with your personal and career goals. So you may be education or psychology or another major, but in our lifetime, almost everybody runs into a social worker. So even if it is at your place of employment and they're, industrial organization social workers, or helping your neighbor with a social worker, helping your church get one. So after reading them, write a 2-page paper on how it aligns with your career goals, article title, and where it was published to be included. So you can put that in the references too. And then turn that in by the last day of this month. So again, it will have the title page, the 2 pages you have to write, and then the references page. So it'll look like in Word 4 pages, but the title page is just like name, class, university, date. Then you write your 2 pages. And if you're worried about, the papers growing each other from 2 pages to 3 pages to 4 to 5 is maybe the longest 6. And if you're really worried about that and you have good content, use Courier New fonts. It'll make, a 2-page paper into a 3-page paper. I'm okay with that. Most teachers are specific. You have to use Times New Roman, but I think Courier New is easier to read. So I'm okay if you use that. Few of the other papers. So there's the values assignment. We'll go through that next month when I assign it, when it's due. There's after that, the global social work paper. And that one is, that's a 3-pager. The next one is also a 4-pager. And then the big presentation that we have, you could come in, do that live and in person, and I'll film you. Or if you do not come into the classroom, you can film yourself from your own cell phone, electronic device, on your PowerPoint on your laptop. So however you decide to present it. You could also do a voiceover on your PowerPoint. And the last paper is just a 2-page essay on diversity in practice. So that's going to be your last one. There are a few things on the grade scale. So as you see, all the papers are in there, and then also your class discussions and attendance on those discussions and replying to classmates, and then participation there too. So here's kind of what it would look like in weeks 1 through 14. We're doing about a chapter and a half every week. So 1 and 2, week 2, there's 2 and 3. Then week 3, we do 3 and 4. Week 4, we'll do chapters 4 through 5, all the way up until the last week is chapter 14. And with finals week, I again will have you guys do a paper. We'll do the exam questions. I'll give you answers and explanations as we go through those, because I want you to practice questions that are possibly on your LSW exam, which you are allowed to take your last semester in undergraduate. So if there's any seniors in this class, I know that doesn't usually happen unless if you're retaking it, you can take your LSW right now if you're graduating in May. So whenever your last semester is, you're allowed to take the test. If you don't pass it the first time, you can retake it 3 months later. And you have a license, which is really a major job asset. So here's more in-depth descriptions on these papers. So, and I'll post those up as they are due. There's the values assignment. Here's your global social work paper assignment. There's the field observation and presentation that you'll do, and then the diversity in practice paper. So, kind of straightforward on everything you need to get into. I'm going to go back to where I have already put up all the PowerPoints for you guys, and that's the folder that's all the assignments from last semester. So we will get into this self-care because I'm putting up discussions about how COVID has affected the college community and whatnot. We have a lot of videos that you can use for research and your discussions, but all the PowerPoints can be found here in the PowerPoint chapters. It says, making sure that the link works for you though. Sometimes the internet doesn't want to move as fast. And yeah, there's all the descriptions of the past papers, some of the discussion boards that we've used, the documentary of the line. There's a child poverty discussion, and different discussions and papers there. So making sure that the PowerPoints want to open up. Without a good signal, we'll go into the self-care one right now. Because as I mentioned, I'd like to do PowerPoint every week. So a chapter every week, and the PowerPoints are helpful in understanding those PowerPoints. So Schoology may be down. You might get a blessing to end early, but yeah. So this week, read chapter 1. We'll get into that. Have access to it, and get you guys a good weekend moving on forward, because it does move fast. You'd be surprised. It feels like next week is already the end of the month, which is really weird because it's only the 21st right now. It's been a long epidemic year or pandemic year, so that's been a challenge. But let's see if this one's there we go. Okay. So at least to get you started, and we'll show you a picture of the book, which is mostly what I wanted to show you. This is an old edition. As I mentioned, I'm okay with you using an old edition. It's called Social Work and Empowering Profession. So Dubois and Miley wrote the book. You could get the 8th edition, which is this one. I think it's actually better looking than the 9th edition. So the 9th edition, it might be more expensive. So as I said, if you need to find access to a book, come to my office. I can try to get some digital files of it. I'm not sure, but we'll at least get you all of these PowerPoints. So again, for your first paper, social work profession. The social work profession promotes change, enhances problem solving and human relationships, and facilitates empowerment and liberation of people to enhance well-being. I never thought I would be a social worker. I didn't know it was an option in undergraduate. I did psychology, so I was for sure I wanted to go on to a psychology graduate degree, and then I lived in El Salvador and Nicaragua in 1998, 1999. And people talked me into social work. It aligned with my values more. I moved home. I lived in Over the Rhine, Cincinnati in 2001, 2002, and 2003, and really saw the connections between Over the Rhine and Nicaragua, the unmet needs of individuals, large-scale poverty, and whatnot. So in that, aligning with that, there's the promoting social change, enhancing problem solving, and facilitating an empowerment and liberation of people to enhance well-being. So as a social worker, we try to respond to the demands of living and promote citizens' rights. There's social workers in every country. So I know with some of our trips, I used to teach at Miami University. We visited India 2 years ago. I first started teaching at Northern Kentucky University. They went to Ireland several years ago, just to see how social workers are similar and different in the other countries. So who are social workers? Professional helpers in a sense. If you get your license, you can't call yourself a social worker until you get that license. It's actually against the law. You demonstrate genuine concern and positive regard for others, possess personal qualities that support work with others, and value working relationships. So in generalist social work, that's what we get into for the first year. To teach you how to generally practice. It utilizes generic practice processes, recognize potential for change at multiple systems levels, and then views behavior in context of social environments. And then integrates direct practice, social policy, and research. So we try to stay on top of, like the modern approaches to solving societal needs and problems, and having up-to-date research on how to serve people better. So there's these 4 purposes in social work. One is to enhance social functioning of individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. Often a social worker will link client systems with needed resource. If it is food, housing, shelter, Section 8 housing, food pantry, soup kitchen, food stamps, improve the operation of the social service delivery network. And this is the generalist practice. When you get into independent licensure and more specific practice, there's addiction studies, family counseling, therapeutic foster care, things of that nature that social workers get more detailed in. And finally, we promote social justice through development of social policy. So I want to save some of this for the slide. Tomorrow I may have a quick check-in, as I know that I've just started doing all of my in-person classes, and then these are the technical hybrid and online classes I'm doing now. So I'll save half of it for tomorrow. Social work goals, we're enhancing the people's capabilities to resolve problems and cope and function effectively. So we do want to empower people to empower themselves to take care of things. We are often linking clients with needed resources improve the service delivery network, and then promoting social justice through the development of social policy. So we do advocacy at the Capitol sometimes. So human needs, there's universal basic needs, definitely food, water, shelter. There's motivational needs, lifespan needs, identity development needs, cultural strengths, physical environment, social justice, and world living. So some of the things that social workers get into. Now, as you get into the chapter, I want you to read the chapter this week. You'll see the different social institutions and functions that folks do, such as the family institution, which we all just came back from. We were on break for a few weeks, and a lot of us revisited the family institution. That's primarily personal care and mutual assistance system between children and parents and between the family unit and society. Then there's the economic institution, and these all, in social work, we always study how it's all interconnected. So all of these affect every single one of these. Educational institution, there's socialization and preparation for productive participatory citizenship. When I was in high school, I was told, this is your job. You might work part-time, but schooling is your full-time job. So you can move on and get a degree and a diploma and make a living and become self-supporting. There's also the political institution. So that is more of the authoritative allocation of public service goals and values. We also have our religious institution. So before 100 years ago, a lot of the social service delivery was through churches. So you'll see and notice that that's why the churches at your home may be called like St. Elizabeth or St. Matthew or Good Samaritan, like Jewish or Christian or Catholic hospitals. That's kind of how they served folks back then. Social welfare institution is the last one. So provisions of support to sustain or attain social functioning. So going through these in social welfare, we respond to the health and education well-being needs of societal members. And often the views about social welfare is that it's residual, institutional, then moving on towards the practice. So examples of fields that we work in. I've done work in family and children's services, health and rehabilitation currently, so at hospice, mental health counseling. So in a private practice, we can work with folks that are coming into us for counseling. Occupational social work, like sometimes career counseling, teaching people how to get into work and do it better. And occasionally housing, so helping folks with, the short-term housing needs and long-term housing needs to make sure that they can provide for their family. Other examples of social work, there's information and referral. Sometimes it's not our specialty area, so we refer them to, say, addiction studies. Income maintenance, sometimes helping people with income, aging services. There's a lot of school social workers. They actually get paid well in Cincinnati. Sometimes you do work in juvenile and adult corrections, and then finally community development. So I'm going to finish up there for today, as I'm going to save a bit for tomorrow. If you guys have questions in the meantime, post it either in the chat under this video or on Schoology, or you can email me. That actually will ding my phone. Schoology I can reply to, but it's like once every 24 hours I'll see it. Emails, I can usually have it come straight to my phone. So good to finally get going with everybody, and have a good day.